And that's why I brought the hats today. And this is a direct appeal to members of the ADFs currently serving or past serving. Makes no difference to me, and I mean it. And look, it doesn't matter which hat you wore. Every one of you who signed that document, and people didn't ever sign it don't understand this, but in signing that document to become a member of the Defence Force, you might have been like me. Just, I want to fight and win some medals. And it's as simple as that when you're a young bloke. But at a deeper level, we understood that we were willing to give what Abraham Lincoln, called the full measure of devotion, that final full measure of devotion. We were willing to die for something bigger than ourselves. And so this is a direct appeal to every serving and former serving member of the Australian Defence Force. Australia One needs you, because Australia One needs to build an army. And armies are made up by men and women with a particular character, a particular set of values, fortitude, and it's in short supply across the country. There's good people here, but they just don't have what it takes. And I know that to be true, because 10,000 people will apply to join the military every year, and a few hundred get accepted. It's not a lot. And so we're going to have to do the heavy lifting one more time. There's one more fight to have, folks. Yeah. There's one more fight to have. And you are willing to fight for Australia in one means, well, it's time to fight a whole new war and in a whole new way.
Absolutely. And coming to Australia, what's the news on what's been happening in Australia? Basically, Victoria state emergency bill to extend the emergency powers granted there to the Premier. They've been extended to December 21st. I do believe they voted to approve that. On top of that, Western Australia, Mark McGowan, I believe his name is, he placed the whole of Perth basically on a high alert and in lockdown because of one case.
And if you believe for a minute that Dutton's attack on McGowan is real, I've got a bridge in Sydney you might like to buy.
But by the way, sorry, I didn't read that out. Dutton did criticise McGowan's.
It's kabuki theatre. I don't believe Dutton for a second. They're all bought and paid for, in my opinion, by the same people. This is to make you believe that there's a difference between the two. You're being shown a movie, folks. This is in my opinion, a bald-faced facade.
I reckon that they genuinely want. This is the two parties basically, because they have a box to fight in, and then they try to fight in it, and so this is why. When I see a lot of drama between the premiers, for example, Gladys and Dan Andrews, I do believe it's genuine. It's like, oh, my hotel quarantine's better than yours. No, mine's better. I believe that's just like, that is genuine fighting, but that's to win political power. But in terms of the ending, it's still terrible. I think Dutton is attacking him because he knows that there's an election coming up, and that's why he called it opportunistic. And I don't like where it's going in Western Australia. I've already called a couple of months ago, where you I think it was last month, you criticised Mark McGowan of Western Australia. You said if you said people of Western Australia, if you elect this guy, I'm sorry, I can't help you. This is idiotic.
Well, we're not going to contest the WA election.
Oh, is that right?
We put out a call for people who might want to contest the seat. Excuse me. And some excellent people put their hand up.
Yeah.
But they weren't okayed because they just weren't ready. They just needed more time. They needed to understand the policies. They needed to get their financial resources. They need to get the people. They needed to really become tough. This is a tough gig. I mean, this isn't like, oh, can I be class president? This is hard. Yeah. You're going to have to be willing to commit everything. So we had some great people put their names up, and I hope they put their names up for the next shot. We had some other people that didn't even get close. So unfortunately, WA didn't produce any candidates who are likely to win.
Because what's the criteria? There's three things.
A winning candidate, winnable seat, money in the bank, boots on the ground.
Yeah, because it is a shame to see that. I don't think One Nation's going as hard. They didn't make they didn't get a lot of their funds back from the Queensland election, to be honest. And the strategy up there was disastrous for them. So what do I think is going to happen in Queensland? I think it's going to be McGowan for another few years, and that's unfortunate, but it's reality. What do you do?
Well, people will just keep taking the pain until they've had enough.
It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating.
That's the political process. Yeah. That is the political process.
Because people are like, oh, this is happening. This is bad. It's like, you can't complain if you're not doing anything. You just can't, a lot of people in Queensland, they were complaining about the outcome. And it's like, guys, what were you doing to help or hinder the outcome that happened? What were you doing? And it's in many cases, it's like, I was sharing, I was this, I was that. It's like, are you a member of a political party? Are you supporting people that are putting their names up? And it's like, no. And it's like, well, what do you want me to do? I can't help you. I don't want you to. Don't send me messages if you're frustrated at the system and the people we elect. And I think I said this quote in the past from the Bible. I can't remember the quote exactly. Maybe my brother can correct me. We elect the leaders that we deserve. We really do. If we are a corrupt society, if we've completely lost our moral core, then we're probably going to elect those people, the people that represent us. Why do you think America elected Donald Trump? You know, like it as reprehensible.
Can I just jump in really quickly?
Yeah, sure.
Don't take your eyes off Trump.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying.
Okay, good. Okay, for the viewers then, just watch this space.
There was a time when America elected leaders that were very well-rounded, like Ronald Reagan, and who were very witty, very, very, very intelligent, but they weren't off-putting. So a lot of Americans find Trump off-putting. Now, I don't care about that. I don't care that Trump's off-putting. I don't care that he tweets things from time to time, because I look at substance. I look at policies. I compare, for example, his policies on China versus China Joe, and how China Joe is approaching China and doing a terrible job there. And I see Trump's way better. I see the Middle East deals that he's been doing, and I see that, you know, in 2020, in the last year, they haven't had a single death in Afghanistan, which is the first time in 20 years. That's Trump's fault. He did that. He deserves the credit. And so I'm willing to, you know, for a time, say the statesman-like behavior can be put on hold, because we've had statesmen, and what do? They put suppression orders on the pedophile lists in Australia. That's what we get.
Well, Trump was the first non-controlled president in years, including Reagan. Now, Reagan said some great stuff. His words are utterly inspiring, and I don't deny that he was sincere, but he was as controlled as everybody else. The national debt under Reagan went, I think, from $1 trillion to $3 trillion. You can check it out. But he was as controlled as everybody else.
Yeah.
Because he was still controlled by the establishment.
Republican Party. He was a big push for opening up China, which didn't end up being successful in making it more democratic.
Once again, he was following orders. So love Reagan's words, brilliant, inspiring. But understand this: Trump is the first president since a long time that wasn't controlled.
Yeah,
and you can go back a century.
Yeah,
Woodrow Wilson, utterly controlled by the globalists.
Yeah.
I tell you what, Australians. Study US history, because if you study US history and the characters and the ebb and flow of events, you will understand what is happening in Australia better, because Australian political history is a yawn. But we are wearing the effects of what's happening globally in this country, and we don't get it. If you just study Australian history, study American political history from the Revolutionary War all the way through, and you'll understand better what's happening in Oz.
Yeah, it's coming, guys. It's all coming.